Yeah, what's good, y'all? It's your man, the Bigga P, and tonight I just want to talk about the New York State Athletic Commission's decision to license Margarito for his fight next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday against Miguel Cotto. Little history. About 3 years ago, three and a half years ago, Cotto and Margarito faced off, for the welterweight title, and this fight I remember particularly because I actually bet on this fight. It was also the first time I actually bet, deciding, bet on the result. Meaning, I said Cotto would lose by stoppage in the 11th round. Never once in a million years did I think I'd actually hit that prediction, especially since Cotto was undefeated and streaking at the time. So yes, it was a pretty amazing fight. And what was also wild about that fight was the way Cotto was bleeding. Uh, you look at him like his face, blood was just pouring out of his mouth, his nose, his eyes, even, and it was just like unbelievable that you think, how much damage he took in that fight. And ever since that fight, Cotto hasn't looked really the same. I mean, he had a couple of soft touches against Gomez and Jennings, and then he had a life and death with Clottey, and then he ends up taking another beating from Pacquiao. And then he looked terrible in fights against Foreman and Mayoga. And personally, I think now he's not. Well, I don't think Cotto is a ruined fighter. He's not the same fight. He's serviceable, meaning he'll win against lesser competition. But anyone who can pressure him will give him a lot of trouble. As for Margarito pretty much that was the high point of his career. It's just been a decline since. The next fight, he gets caught with the wraps, and without those wraps, plus he was overtrained. He gets brutally KO'd by Shane Mosley, and to date, it is the only knockout loss of his career. Then he gets suspended for that, for a good, I think a year and a half, I think. Comes back, he fights a meaningless fight in Mexico. Does not look impressive at all. And then afterwards, comes to the Pacquiao fight. Now, before that fight, Margarito and his trainer were imitating Freddie Roach's Parkinson disease, which was very low class and very low brow. And Manny pretty much took it out of him in the ring. Now, I didn't think I knew Manny Pacquiao had power, but never, I thought he would outwork him, but never in a million years did I think Manny would literally break the man's face, rearrange his face, and literally beat the man almost half to death over 12 rounds. It was a bad beating. Margarito ended up with the broken orbital bone and a large cataract. And I know there were some sucks were even pointing at detached retina. But regardless, after that fight, one would think those injuries, those eye injuries alone, that Margarito would probably be finished as a fighter. But no, when they announced Cotto and Margarito 2, I was like, Margarito's not going to fight a warm up. Like, what's this all about? And it just struck me as really odd, why that was. And I'm thinking to myself, that eye cannot be 100%. There's no way that eye was 100%. And then the story comes out with the New York State Athletic Commission saying that, that Margarito would have to apply for another eye exam in order to get a license. And I'm thinking to myself, there's definitely another story behind this. And then I saw the 24/7. And it's very clear that Margarito's eye is messed up. Very messed up. I mean, one eye is normal, and then you have the other eye just looking like he's seeing a ghost. Just this dead eye look. That's the same look that Israel Vasquez had, and then Layman Brewster had. There's nothing wrong with that. There's something like horribly wrong with that eye. I mean, it looks like it's fake. And at first, I was commending the New York State Athletic Commission on, on their, and at first being hesitant to actually license the man to fight. And personally, I found it really suspicious Like, why would Margarito take a fight like this without a warm up after literally almost getting killed in the ring and losing his eye? And my thing is, I think personally that Bob Arum is trying to cash him out. Because Margarito, regardless of what diminished boxing ability at all, has the look of a villain. He's a perfect fall for any up and comer because he comes to fight, he takes punches, and from round 1 to round 12, that's what he does. And I know there's a whole bunch of controversy with New York. People already making reservations at the hotels, making plane tickets, the tickets to the Garden being sold out. And I think on top of that, Miguel Cotto says if the fight was moved, that that he won the fight, that he pull out the fight if it wasn't in New York. There was just a lot of complications. So, and I personally, and of course in the end, that they licensed Margaritas to fight. And my thing is, I don't think they should have let him do it. Margarito's eye is messed up, and the reason why Margarito's eye is messed up is because certain people, didn't pull him out of the Pacquiao fight. When it's clear that that injury was bad. His trainers, Margarito himself, the ref, the ringside doctors. The only person that knew that Margarito was severely injured was Pacquiao, who, to his credit, laid off him in the final 2 rounds, and just to say, just to show, just to save some face. But yeah, Margarito shouldn't be allowed in the ring. For hand wraps issues, be damned. I mean, if you're gonna let him fight after that, it's whatever. But now we're dealing with a man who's clearly not looking out, who clearly is not looking out in the best interest for himself, and is now in a possibility where he can leave that ring half blind. I mean, I could just imagine a couple Cotto left hooks literally messing up that whole eye again. I don't know. There's no way that eye can take it. And the last thing that boxing needs is something negative, because I just have this feeling in my bones that something bad or something wild is going to happen that night. I can't point my finger to it, but something is going to happen in that fight that night. Besides probably the likely, that Margarito will be half blind for the rest of his life. But anyways, that's my little 2 cents on the situation. And just like you guys, I will be tuning in to watch the fight. And the other, the whole card is wonderful. And then I know the Showtime has a card. So yes, December 3rd it is the 3rd, will be if it's 2nd or 3rd, it's probably 3rd. I forget which one of the states is Saturday. But regardless, that night will be a great night for boxing overall. Anyways, I'm about to sign out for the night. So, peace everyone.